Things that thrill you today will bore you tomorrow. Everything fades. It wears out. It grows old. Something newer comes along. I'm always fascinated by the excitement that we have over phones of all things. They make calls, believe it or not. We don't use them much for that anymore, but they do. But I really can't keep up with the latest models or the new features that are there. Every year there's some new model, some new car with some new features that they didn't have before, making the new now old. I'm a big fan of stand-up comedy, and there's a great bit by a famous comedian talking about how everything is amazing, but nobody is happy. There's all this stuff. We have really cool things. We can be endlessly amused, entertained, distracted, but so few people are actually truly happy, despite all their stuff. So on an occasion like today, it gives us the opportunity to kind of step back, maybe ponder philosophically, is this it? Is this all that life is? A relentless, restless search for something to finally grab me, to captivate me, to satisfy me? And is there anything like that out there? Some religions propose that the problem is that you desire. If you would just eliminate your desire, you would actually be happy. Christianity says something different. The problem isn't that you desire. The problem is that you don't desire enough. We get too easily satisfied, thinking that the stuff will eventually satisfy us. Reality is that God made you and me hungry. He made us insatiable. He planted within us infinite desires. And it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing. So don't run from your desires. It's just, the key is to ask, what is it that I want? So here in this passage from the Old Testament that comes to mind, it's from Isaiah. And it comes to mind given what we celebrate today. And God says through Isaiah to us this: everyone who thirsts, come. Why do you spend your money on things that can't satisfy? What a great line. In other words, why do you keep banging your head up against the wall thinking, if I only had that, then I would be happy? Nothing wrong with stuff. We have lots of stuff, but it will never satisfy. Not the people you meet, not the places you'll visit, not the things you'll see. None of it will satisfy you. So what does? We're all like the crowd in the gospel today. Here we are in front of Jesus, and we're hungry. What are we hungry for? We're not hungry for food. That's not our reality. That's a reality for millions of people across the world, but it's not ours. We're hungry for truth, meaning, life, purpose, something that I can throw myself into, something that gives me direction in my life, something that changes everything, something that finally goes, that's it. But what is that? This brings us to the solemnity that we celebrate today. Because here's the scandalous answer. I'll tell you what you want. You want God. You may not know that, or perhaps you do. But you want God because he made you for himself. Jesus says in John chapter 6, which is the longest chapter dedicated to the Eucharist, for he teaches us at length about the gift that he gives us of himself. He says, I am the bread of life. He who comes to me shall never hunger, and he who believes in me shall never thirst. He's not talking about food and drink. He's talking about life. For he said, I have come that you might have life, abundant life. A number of years ago, I read something by Pope Francis, and it was written before he wrote it before he was Pope. And he gives a good summary of the Christian life. He says, knowing Jesus is the greatest gift any person can receive. That we have encountered him is the best thing that has ever happened in our lives. And making him known by our deeds and words is our greatest joy. So I have two questions for us today. Do you know him? Not do you have an idea about him? Not have you heard other people talk about him? Not have you heard about him? Do you know him? Have you encountered him? I fear often that we fall short of helping people encounter him. We've taught about him. We invite people to all sorts of things. But I don't think we facilitated an encounter. I think of St. Andrew because he was the only one, or was the first one rather, to meet Jesus. And he went to his brother Peter and he says, "Come and meet someone I have met." That's supposed to be the life of a disciple. Those of us who have encountered him, who can say with all integrity that the single greatest thing that has ever happened in my life is that I've met him. And I've had a lot of great things happen to me in my life. I've gotten to know so many great people. I've gotten to do so many great things. I've gotten to travel the world and see incredible things. And I have no material needs for myself. But of all the things that have ever happened in my life, nothing remotely compares to have encountered him. Because he's what I want. He's what I'm hungry for. He's what you're hungry for, whether you know it or not. Because he put that desire in you. So what have I done to know the Lord? What have I done to encounter him? Because we're all responsible for that. I'm responsible for that. You're responsible for that. I have to take accountability for that. But whether you've graduated from high school and are about to take off for college or something else, about to go off and do amazing things, some of you will go off and make some really bad choices, experience hardships, struggles. Or maybe you're at a point in your lives where you look back and you cringe in shame over what we've done. Wonder where it all went wrong and how it can ever get any better. But here's the wonderful thing about God. Nothing is wasted. Not your bad choices, not your hardships, not your struggles. Those things have a way of opening up within us a space that reminds us that I am just one giant need. I lack. I want. I'm hungry. I'm restless. Know that when you experience that, and if you haven't experienced that, you will experience that, there is someone who satisfies. So, 4 things come to mind, just a kind of a simple exhortation to conclude my homily. Make a plan. Make a plan for how it is that you will come to know and encounter God. It might look as simple as this. First, set aside time, a realistic, a reasonable, a doable amount of time each day and every day where you will pray, where you will ask the Lord to show himself to you, to make himself known, to help you encounter him. You know he wants to do this. That's why that's how he's shown us. He's dying to meet you, literally. Second, stay close to Mass. When I was younger, I didn't go to Mass. I didn't go for several years. Knew next to nothing about my faith. One of the worst decisions I ever made in my life. Always stay close to him. Third, read his word. It's where we meet him in the most powerful way outside of the Eucharist. And then fourth, find some way to serve. We tend to be a very self-serving culture. We're all about getting. But the key to life is about giving, pouring yourself out for others. And you meet God, aside from or outside of the Eucharist and Scriptures, in the most powerful way when you care about others, but especially the poor. Perhaps all of us, we could just thank God in advance for what he's going to do in our lives, especially for those of us who, perhaps in all honesty, say, I don't know that I know Jesus. I don't know that I've encountered him. And if that's the case, then you're in a great spot. Because rather than bemoan that, you can thank him that he's going to do it. He's made us to be great. Greatness has nothing to do with what you wear or what you drive, what you look like, what your grades are like, where you go to work. It has to do with whether or not you have come to know and to love and to make God known.